everybody, welcome to another video. My name is Infiniti and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to do the broomstick lace stitch. It is one of my favorite old stitches, probably because it's one of the first quote-unquote fancy stitches that I learned when I first started crocheting about 8 years ago. So as you guys can see, it consists of a bunch of eyelets stacked on top of one another. I have seen this made into blankets and scarves, tunics. I personally use it for scarves. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into this tutorial. What you're going to need for this stitch is a stick of some sort. You're going to need a crochet hook and some yarn. So I'm going to put my giant knitting needle to the side and we are going to create a slip knot. And what we're going to do is chain in multiples of 5, and then we're going to add 1, 2, 3. For my swatch I did 15, so I will do 15 again. And then chain an additional 1 for a total of 16 stitches. Alright, and what we're going to do is we are going to single crochet in that second chain from our hook. So, not the one that's on our hook, but the very next one over, we're just going to insert our hook and create a single crochet. And we're going to do that all the way across. So once you reach the end of your row, go ahead and finish that single crochet there. We're going to pull up this loop pretty tall, tall enough for us to insert our stick, knitting needle, whatever it is you're going to use for this project. And we're just going to slide that giant loop onto the needle. Now this is a really awkward tutorial to record because hopefully you guys can get the viewpoint. A pro tip for this stitch is to kind of hold your stick, your knitting needle, in your lap because it just gives you an easier handle on it. And anyway, now that we have that first loop on our needle, what we're going to do is insert our hook into that next stitch, and we are going to come over here, we're going to yarn over, pull up a nice tall loop, and just slide it over our knitting needle. Now I tend to leave my rows of crochet kind of diagonal from my hook a little bit because it causes this loop to stretch a little bit, and it's actually a little bit bigger than my knitting needle. And this is great because my tension is super tight, if you guys haven't noticed over the years. So it's a good way to be able to work back into these loops later on. So that's all you're going to do is basically yarn over, pull up a tall loop, and just put it over the end of your knitting needle for the entire row. And when you finish, you should end up with the same number of loops that you chained. So I chained 15 and then I added 1, and then when I went across and did my single crochet, I ended up with 15 single crochet. So that means I should end up with 15 of these loops on my needle. Now that you have all the loops on your needle, what you're going to do is take your hook, and I like to work underneath these loops, but however you can get them on your hook, you're going to grab those first 5 loops, and we're just going to pull them off of our needle, like so. And if it helped, you can lay your needle down. My hands are small, so it helps me a lot. And what we're going to do is we're going to yarn over. We're going to chain 1 to secure our loops. And then we are going to put 5 single crochet in this hole that we've just made. There's 1, 2, and 5. And this is our first lace. Now, in order to move on, we're just going to slide our crochet hook under the next 5 loops that we have on our needle and slide those right on off of there. We are going to turn these loops to the left. Make sure you have them all on the hook, turn them to the left. Now you're going to single crochet 5 into that hole. Alright, now that I've completed those 5 single crochet, I'm going to come underneath my next set of 5 stitches, which for me this is my last set, and I'm just going to pull them off my stick over here. And again, when you are doing the broomstick lace stitch, you're turning the stitches to the left essentially and single crocheting. So if you're trying to hold this fabric in a way that's less awkward for you, just keep that in mind. Alright, making my second one, third, fourth, and the 5th one. Alright, and that is my 3rd row. So after you do this initial setup thing here, what we're going to do is start over with making our giant loops. So I'm going to pull up that first stitch super tall, put it over my needle, and I'm going to go about casting on this next row of loops. So that's inserting my hook in the back loop of the next stitch on the row, yarning over, pulling up a loop, placing it over my needle. And the longer your fabric gets, the easier it gets to hold the needle in your hand and the swatch that you're working on or project that you're working on. I have really small hands, so this it says something. I'm going to yarn over, pull up my next loop. And again, in a way, I'm holding my swatch a little diagonal to my needle. I'm not sure if you guys can pick that up on that on camera, but I do that so that my tension doesn't get too tight with these and I can work back into them at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up all my loops, and I'll meet you back when I am ready for the next row. Alright, now that I have all the loops on my needle, I am ready to get these off of here again. So I'm going to insert my hook. Like I said, I like to go kind of underneath these loops. And I'm going to pull off 5 of them for my first section. If it helps, you can lay your needle down. What we're essentially doing is turning our loops to the left like this. Kind of like this. And we're going to yarn over, pull up a loop. We're going to chain 1 to secure this. Then we're going to put 5 single crochets in this hole that we've made. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright, now we're ready for our next section. So we can just come over here and pull off 5 loops. Can gently pull those off of our needle. And we're going to place 5 single crochets through the center of those loops. There's 1. 2. 3. 4. And make sure you don't grab any of your loops in there. We're going to get our 5th single crochet made. Alright, now we're going to grab these last 5 stitches, or our next 5 stitches depending on the size of your project. You can set our needle to the side. And we're just going to work 5 single crochets through the center of all these loops. And 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright, and so you would continue to work up those 2 rows until you reach the desired length of your project. I hope today's tutorial was helpful for you guys. If so, leave me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on awesome weekly content like this. I typically post crochet tutorials on Sundays at 9:30 a.m. CST, so you're not going to want to miss out on that stuff. If you're interested in my other makes, I am on Instagram and I post there very regularly, nearly every day. So check me out over there. I'm on a host of other social media. All of it is linked down in my description box below. And until next time, guys, happy making.